strong design and sourcing ecosystem has enabled us to grow our own brands across apparel and footwear.
This announcement by Isha Ambani during the annual general meeting of Reliance Industries is set to stir India's $110 billion fast-moving consumer goods sector, which is expected to double to $220 billion by 2025. Isha, who helms Reliance's retail business, said that the objective of the FMCG business is to develop and deliver high-quality, affordable products which address the daily needs of Indians. In the 1980s, Nirma took on the might of Hindustan Lever, now known as Hindustan Unilever, and moved ahead of Surf to capture a significant market share. Nirma was priced 75% cheaper compared to Surf. In fact, Nirma's success is also known to have forced Unilever and P&G to launch cheaper clones. After establishing its leadership in economy detergents, Nirma entered the premium segment, launching toilet soaps, Nirma Beauty Soap, and Shuddh Salt. Hindustan Unilever's Operation Sting, which stood for Strategy to Inhibit Nirma's Growth, resulted in the launch of Wheel in 1988. Despite the might HUL put behind Wheel to counter Nirma, Wheel could only scale to the top of the market in the early 2000s. Moving on, Reliance Retail is known to deeply undercut its rivals with its private label FMCG brands, which it currently sells at its Reliance Fresh and Reliance Smart supermarkets and hypermarkets. Taking its private label range to general trade will challenge well-established foreign groups like Unilever, Nestle, P&G, Reckitt, PepsiCo, and Coca-Cola, and homegrown companies like Dabur, Imami, Marico, ITC, Godrej Consumer, and Adani Wilmar, which last fiscal overtook Hindustan Unilever as India's biggest FMCG company, clocking a revenue of 54,214 crore rupees. Reliance will sell products like pulses and grains, edible oil, spices, biscuits, namkeens, ready-to-cook meals, ketchups, soft drinks, fruit juices, tea and coffee. Brands in the food space include Good Life, Desi Kitchen, Snack Tag, and Ya. In the non-food space, it has entered categories like soaps, face wash, hair oils, sanitizers, toothpaste, lipsticks, detergents, toilet cleaners, and agarbattis. Brands here include Get Real, Puric, My Home, Enzo, and Glimmer. At 6%, Reliance is incentivizing super stockists by offering double the margins compared to other FMCG companies. So, can Reliance compete against entrenched players on the shelves of the country's supermarket and kirana stores, the latter of which serve roughly 80% of the retail market?
Competitive intensity has already been high in India. It is not to say that Hindustan Lever or a Nestle or an ITC or a Marico or a Parle doesn't face competition even today. Today also they face competition maybe from local players, from the unorganized sector, for example. Even from relatively large players who have private label share like a DMart, for example. Yes, tactically they will come out with promotions, with discounting, with new variants, but that does not mean that they will start to lose market share. That does not mean that they will start to lose profitability. That is the point I would not draw a conclusion with. There is room for Reliance and many, many others besides Reliance to continue to grow without having to worry that am I taking market share away from Hindustan Unilever or ITC or Nestle or whoever, and vice versa. Each of these companies can also continue to grow without having to worry too much about Reliance.
Analysts say that Reliance's move could turn out to be the next big disruption in the FMCG market after Patanjali Ayurved made its aggressive entry into it in 2015. Patanjali had managed to make its presence felt almost immediately, making other FMCG companies launch their own Ayurvedic and natural products. While Reliance Retail's initial strategy is to take its own brands to general trade, it is keen to make acquisitions and is also looking at regional brands. After acquiring soft drink brand Campa, which held an iconic status in the 1980s, Reliance is reportedly in talks to acquire Garden Namkeens, Lahori Zira, and Bindu Beverages and Socio. Since it takes a long time to build brand recall and loyalty, can Reliance quickly establish its own brands in the market? Some of India's most successful FMCG companies have been in existence for over 100 years as well.
It takes a long time to build brand recall and brand loyalty. Reliance has just started. The single biggest advantage Reliance has compared to any other traditional FMCG company is Reliance has almost 15,000 points of sales as far as the physical retail stores are concerned. GeoMart itself is an app which has been operational for quite some time. So they do also have access to consumers through the digital channel. Number three, Reliance has been working with Kirana stores for a variety of initiatives over the last 2-3 years. So they do have some access, some connect to probably a few 100,000 or maybe a few million Kirana stores as well. The fourth part is very unique. They're building their own brands, but they're also very aggressively scouting for brands which might be available across India, which have either localized presence or in some cases a national presence. While some of the brands may not be well known, but they have increasingly embarked upon acquiring, let's say, old and faded brands, Campa Cola being one example of today.
Reliance has internally set a target of 50,000 crore rupees turnover for the FMCG business. For a company that built its 2 trillion rupee retail business from scratch within 16 years, the target does not seem far-fetched. While Reliance's FMCG entry will not necessarily pose a threat to their market share, incumbents will have to pull up their socks to compete with the deep pockets of the new player.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.